One time in the United States, I approached a dairy farm to understand the difference between a Indian cow and the other cow. I don't even know what to call it. The Jersey cow, the Swiss cow, but the Indian cow, I asked him, what is the great difference about having an Indian bull instead of a regular cow bull? And he said that the Indian bull can effectively pregnate 150 cows a day. Now that's an amazing amount. Yeah, just an amazing amount. And here he is looking at his girlfriends. He was made for that. That's his great ability. That's his duty. That bull can pregnate 150 cows in one day. Now that bull over there, he's a very old bull. Not just old, but very old bull. And he has an unlimited group of girlfriends. Unlimited. The human body was not made like Krishna could have made it like that. The progenitors of mankind, of course, they could have thousands of kids because they were the progenitors of mankind. But they could also have them either by mantra, physical way, or anything like that. That wasn't just a matter of physical. But still, they had to propagate thousands. The sons of Bhakti were 10,000. One whack. And other progenitors also were there. So their service was to propagate. Their service was to propagate. And there was no illicit activity for their propagation. There was no illicit activity for their propagation. There's no illicit activity for my bull friend propagating. There's no illicit activity. There's a stimulation for it and a drive for it, but it's not an illicit one. Whereas, and he has no responsibility for the cows or the calf. He has no responsibility for the cows or the calves. His responsibility is just getting the cow pregnant. And that is a really big responsibility for them. Real big responsibility. And it makes Krishna happy. Whereas mankind should be a little bit more controlled. Should be, but must be. Physically, you can't do it. The energy is not given. The Krishna could give, but he didn't give. He has the ability to give, but he didn't give. It becomes an abuse, an incredible abuse. And then, to perform those activities, and not even want to have children, much more of an abuse. Yeah. And then have children, and then not responsible for those children. It just goes on and on and on. Just for a momentary satisfaction. And it doesn't even satisfy. Because there's always the ups and also the downs when you realize that the energy is gone. Yeah. Professor Senyal, he writes about it. He writes a whole article about it. How that esoteric desire is some ways non-different. It's in some ways non-different from pure devotional service. And now that is our object as human beings. The desire is not wrong. The desire is not wrong at all. But the desire misused is what is wrong. Yeah, heavily wrong. Not just wrong, but heavily wrong, and the reactions are wrong. So forced morality has nothing to do with spirituality. Now, forced morality has nothing to do with spirituality. Yeah. It doesn't, it's within the religions, the common religions and everything, and they can't escape it, and they won't admit they can't stop it. So the solution isn't forced morality, moral standards. There's so many different standards, and each one of them are projecting a standard that may be even contrary to the other religions. I'm saying religion. It's not even religion. It's speculation. It's not religion. Religion is connecting with God, not fighting your senses or being scared of your senses or mistreating your senses. That's not religion. That type of morality, social morality, is nothing to do with connecting with God. It may be, it may be necessary. Yeah, it may be necessary so there isn't so much, free enjoyment. Yeah, free enjoyment. But still, it has nothing to do with a spiritual life. The same channel in the physical body that inspires the thought, that same channel is the same channel that can inspire higher thoughts. So the channel is not wrong. It's that all of a sudden you force, and we shut the channel of spiritual elevation, and we open the channel of sense gratification. Then after we force open the channel of sense gratification, we become angry at it because it gives trouble. The esoteric, relationship between the sexual drive and, pure devotional service. That's the only way out. And the common religion, they set standards, but the persons that are writing the standards can't even follow the standards. Or the persons that are writing the standards are, till death, molested. Until their last breath, they're molested. So they haven't removed that which has misdirected the energy of the human being. They purposely have closed the channel that goes up to the higher chakras. You can say from the lower chakra to the higher chakras, they have closed it, and then it goes from the lower chakra and it vanishes. It was supposed to fortify the human body by going up the other channel. Oh, there's so many types of yogas and everything to raise the energy of the, up the chakras and everything, but the simplest is chanting Hare Krishna. So it always comes back to chanting Hare Krishna. There's nothing, because if you do it by other channels, you start really getting angry at your senses when you don't get the benefit that you wanted. Yeah. Whereas when you chant Hare Krishna, you're just depending on Krishna, please help me raise my consciousness. Yeah, okay. I'll just leave it at that. That's Professor Sanyal. He's a great devotee of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. When all the problems came after Bhakti Siddhanta's disappearance, then at that point, Professor Sanyal was like the captain. Although he was the Professor Sanyal, the only one that could be the captain for all the disturbance and everything was Professor Sanyal. So he's a great personality. Okay. My dear little bull, you're wonderful.